You type something uncomfortable into YouTube. Why is my self-worth tied to my job? And the strange part is, you already know the answer might be bad. Because when work goes well, you feel calm. When work goes badly, your entire mood collapses. A meeting runs poorly and suddenly the whole day feels ruined. That reaction feels personal. It feels like a weakness. But here is the counterintuitive truth. Your self-worth being tied to your job is not an accident. It is a system you were trained into, not by one person, not by one job, by an entire culture that quietly taught you one rule: your value equals your usefulness. By the end of this, you will understand the exact psychological mechanism that makes your career feel like your identity. And more important, you will see the one shift that separates people who work hard from people who disappear inside their work. Because if your self-worth lives inside your job title, one question becomes dangerous. What happens the moment that title changes? In 2019, researchers studying work identity asked thousands of professionals a simple question: who are you? Most participants answered with their occupation before anything else: doctor, engineer, designer, manager. Not hobbies, not values, not relationships, their job. Psychologists call this identity fusion with work. It means your brain slowly merges your sense of self with your professional role. And once that happens, something subtle begins. Success at work feels like proof you matter. Failure at work feels like proof you do not. That is why a small criticism from your manager can ruin your entire evening. It is not feedback anymore. It is identity damage. And this is where the work identity crisis begins. The strange part is, no one teaches this directly. It happens slowly. School rewards productivity. Early jobs reward performance. Promotions reward sacrifice. Until one day you realize something unsettling. You are not working inside your life anymore. Your life is orbiting your career. The problem beneath the search "why is my self-worth tied to my job" has a name: identity compression. It happens when a single role begins absorbing every other part of who you are. Imagine your identity as a map with many regions: friend, sibling, learner, creative person, curious mind, someone who enjoys quiet mornings. But when career identity and self-worth merge, one region expands: work. Slowly that region grows larger. Not because you want it to, because the world keeps rewarding it. Your social introductions become career titles. Your achievements become promotions. Your worth becomes productivity. Eventually the map collapses into one territory: work. And when identity compresses like that, something dangerous happens. Any threat to your job suddenly feels like a threat to your entire self. When work becomes your identity, losing a role starts to feel like losing a person. The reason this trap persists comes from a simple psychological loop: reward. Human brains repeat whatever produces recognition. Salary increases, praise, status, titles. Each one acts like a signal. Stay here. This is where your value lives. Here is the analogy that explains it. Think about scaffolding around a building under construction. At first, the scaffolding exists to support the building. But if workers kept reinforcing the scaffolding instead of the structure, eventually the scaffolding would become the strongest thing. Your career is supposed to be scaffolding for your life: support, structure, opportunity. But when every reward reinforces the scaffolding, something strange happens. The scaffolding becomes the building. Your job stops supporting your life. Your life starts supporting your job. Your career was meant to hold your life up, not replace it. You recognize this mechanism in moments you barely notice. You check work messages during dinner because silence feels irresponsible. You introduce yourself at a party and the first thing you say is your profession. Someone asks what you enjoy outside work and you hesitate. Or this moment, you imagine losing your job tomorrow. And the first feeling is not financial fear. It is identity panic. Who am I without my job? That question appears quietly in the mind of people who built their self-worth and career success into the same structure. And when the structure shakes, the entire sense of self shakes with it. That is why the solution is not working less. The solution is understanding something deeper about identity itself. The mistake hidden inside the question is the assumption that work created your worth. It did not. Work only became the loudest place where your worth was measured. There is a difference. Your job measures output. Your worth exists before output. That sounds abstract until you see the shift. Instead of asking, "What does my job say about me?" ask a different question. What part of me existed before this job ever noticed me? Curiosity, persistence, creativity, problem solving. Those traits existed long before your current title, and they will exist long after it changes. The shift is simple. Treat your job as a stage. Treat your job as a stage where your traits perform, not the source of the traits themselves. Actors do not become their roles. A great actor can play 10 characters across a career. The character changes, the actor remains. Your job is a role. Your identity is the actor. Your title is a role you play, not the person who plays it. Once that shift happens mentally, something quiet changes. A bad meeting stops feeling like identity failure. It becomes what it always was, a moment inside a role. And roles change. Tomorrow morning you will open your laptop again. The emails will still exist, the meetings will still happen. The deadlines will still appear. Nothing outside will look different. But one moment will feel different. Someone will ask what you do. And you will notice the pause between the question and your answer. Inside that pause is something interesting. A tiny space where identity used to collapse instantly into a job title. Now the space exists, and the question becomes heavier. If your job disappeared tomorrow, which parts of you would still remain? That question is uncomfortable because it asks something deeper than career planning. It asks about identity. Think back to the first time work made you feel valuable or invisible. What happened in that moment? What did someone say or do that made your job suddenly feel like proof of your worth?